All right, Casey, why don't you give us a quick introduction about who you are, where you're located, what your agency does, and all that sort of stuff before we get into it.
What's up, guys? My name is Casey Schultz. I own a video agency down here in San Diego, California. I service local service-based businesses, and we implement what I call the content-to-client system, essentially pairing organic content with paid ads to generate those businesses more leads.
Today, I want to dive into really 5 different pillars. First one's going to be offer. We're going to go through who it is that you serve, how you help them. Then we're getting into the lead gen, and then talk about how you're acquiring new clients. And then we're going to talk about your sales workflow. What are you doing to qualify clients, make sure they show up for the appointments and actually you're able to close deals. Then we'll get into systems and we'll get into hiring it, and then we'll understand what your roadblocks are, and then we'll kind of get into there and we'll get into your plan. How does that sound? Beautiful. So let's start with the offer. What is it that we are doing for our clients right now? Let's start with the who. Who is it that we're working with?
Local service businesses.
And then what problem are you helping them solve?
Lack of leads through social media. Typically these guys they have an established business, but it's not through social media, so.
Okay, anything else?
Not enough time. Like, they know that they need to be on social media, but they're running the business, or they're making content, but it's not good enough, so they want to up the quality of it.
So then the outcome is pretty much the opposite of this. What are these steps to desired outcome that you're doing?
So content ideation, going out to film the content, edit it, and then manage the organic side of things, and then also the paid ads. Kind of depends on the package, but.
How many ideas are you coming up with?
Typically I do like 25 to 30, and then I send that to them to pick out which ones that they want. So one of the packages is 8 videos, so they'll go through, pick out their 8 videos or the 12 videos, and then send it back to us. We'll format it with the hooks, specifics, and then take that to the shoot.
And then shooting, you said you'll shoot 8 for them?
Yeah.
And then edit, you'll 8. And then what happens after this? You're posting for them too?
Mm-hmm. So one of the packages is just filming, editing, and then handoff. And then once you get up to the higher level packages, that's when we start to manage the organic and the paid ads. So
the main offer is basically 8 videos we'll post for you. And then the ads, like what's the situation with the ads?
This is going to be the first package. This is actually not including posting. The second package is probably our main, which is editing, posting, and then basically helping them set up the ads, so not actually.
So first package is just shooting 8 videos and editing 8 videos?
Yep, and then handing that off to them.
Okay, cool. And the second package is we're gonna post.
Yep.
And then ads.
And then ads would be 12 total videos, 4 ads, 8 organic.
So you're writing the ad copy?
Yep, yeah, so we're scripting out the ads.
And then shooting ads, of course.
Yep.
And then ads management. What goes into the ads management?
Just going into their ads manager, taking the content, yeah.
What else are you doing on the ads management or for this package?
It's obviously month to month, but
yeah,
filming new ads. If the ad does super well, we'll keep it running. If not, we'll film and kind of just optimize that each month.
And then do you do 8 videos per month? And then is this like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months?
Offer month to month, but if they pay in full, they can do 3 or 6 months.
And then are you sending like reporting, or how are you communicating the value that you guys are providing?
Yeah, reports.
Weekly, monthly?
Monthly.
Monthly. And then who's doing the posting currently?
Me. We use like scheduling softwares, and then once the editor kicks back the videos, I'll go through them, send them to the client, make sure they approve them, and then I'll go in and schedule them out for the month.
And who's doing the ideation? You?
Yeah.
And then you mostly doing the shooting?
Yep.
And then editing?
My editor.
And then posting you?
Yep.
Ad copy you?
Me.
Any software?
ChatGPT. Yeah.
Nice. And then shooting, Casey, ads management, you?
Yep.
Monthly reporting, you?
Yep.
So clear on that. So 2 packages on the offer, month to month, but they can do pay in fulls.
Yep.
And you're doing a majority of it, the editing, with the goal to get them leads, save them time, and increase the perceived value of them for service-based San Diego businesses. So let's talk about lead gen. So right now you're doing around what, $25,000 a month, you said?
Yeah.
For the last couple months. Yep. Has it been stable incline? Has it been like ebbs and flows?
It's constantly gone up. So I started $2,000 a month a year and a half ago, and then first 10K, and then first 25K January, another 25 February. Okay, so it's constant.
How are you getting the clients?
All through social media. It started out, I was going to BNI and all that stuff, but I've maybe gotten 2, 3 total clients in the past year often, so I stopped going to that. So it's all through social media, and now that I've been running it for a while, I'm starting to get referrals off that too.
Nice. Is this like DMs? Is this ads? Is this like just posting organically, or what's the?
Mainly DM ads.
Are you doing any other things on social media to get clients?
Organic posting too.
Anything else?
We do outbound, so my setter now goes out and does just typical.
How's this been going for you?
Really good.
Like, what would be like a cost per lead? Let's start there.
Cost per opt-in is roughly $89. It's qualified. Total is $10. So the last 2 months I've gotten 331 opt-ins.
And what's the ad spend?
Total, $4.9 thousand over the last 2 months, February, January.
Or cost per lead, $10. Cost per quality lead, $89. Do you know what your lead to booking ratio is? Like how many book calls are you getting from $4,900 in ad spend?
January 22, and then February was 10.
What we like to look for is like a lead to booking ratio. Have you ever heard that term?
Yep.
So lead to booking, which you can measure off of this, but I like to mostly go after the quality leads just because it's like more like real, because this could be like robots, this could be somebody who's a videographer trying to see like what you're offering to people, that kind of stuff. So I like to find the middle ground, or I like to look at both of them, but we mostly pay attention to this one. I mean, I'll pay $89 for a lead if it's leading to like high ROAS for sure. If we did 55 leads divided by 32 meetings, or 32 divided by 55, that's like 58% lead to booking ratio, which is freaking solid. What's up with the other 400 and however many leads?
A lot of those spam, or like somebody would like click on it but like not actually do it. So just not qualified.
Yeah, because that's like a 6%, which I mean, still isn't crazy. We kind of want to look for like anywhere from 15 to 25%. So like you are freaking dialed. And then what was like your cash collected from $4,900 in the last 2 months?
18,500.
And then contracted revenue, do you know?
All these people came back, so yeah, I would just double that for the new clients.
I mean, to spend $5,000 and make $18,000, that's like
That's one thing I need to
4.5 return on ad spend for cash collected, not just contracted revenue.
Yeah, contractor revenue is probably double or triple that.
Yeah, which is
dial that in.
8x ROAS. So you run a DM ad, people opt in, you have a setter qualifying them, and then they set appointments, and then you're taking the calls. Now let's talk about sales. After they set an appointment, what's the sales journey for them?
So after setter, he qualifies them, books them a call. It goes into our Zapier, which contacts us to say, hey, we've got a new lead. I'm working on setting up a VSL where they get an automated, hey, this is what you're gonna go over on the call. But right now,
So it's just like appointment reminders to calendar.
Yep, so appointment reminders, but I want to start implementing the VSL.
Do you know like what your show rate is?
February was 70%, and then January was 81.
And then do you know what your close percentage is?
42% for February, and then January was 33.
And then the 60 that said no, like what's the primary objection that you're getting?
They need to talk with their team, or it's too expensive.
And then are they all like the people that are booking calls with you? Are they pretty like solid within your niche and stuff?
Yeah.
Nice, sick.
I would say like 90% is all ideal clients.
Do you know what your profit margins are?
Last year was 40%.
That's gross net.
Gross.
What are you pricing your offer at right now?
1750, 2000, and then 2500.
And then you're mostly selling this one. And then this is the ad spend. So ad spend is separate.
Yeah.
And then how much are they putting in ad?
$50 to $100 a day, kind of depends on their goals.
Where's all your expenses going? I guess we can talk about that a little bit later. But
Last year was a lot of coaching, just learning a bunch of stuff.
Cool.
This year it'll be
it's not like team though. Like you're not like you're not like overspending a team. No. Okay. Let's talk about the systems. How are you staying afloat? How are you like? What are you doing to like not burn yourself out so you're not juggling everything? If you're predictably getting new clients, closing at 35, 40%, predictably getting new leads. What's the situation here?
this needs to get dialed in for sure.
Nice.
I've been juggling and it's juggling. I mean, it goes in spurts. Every time I get new clients, then it's like, okay, now I'm working 10, 12 hours a day sometimes. But then I'll get to that point where it's like, okay, now I can handle that. But now I'm at a point where we got to dial in the systems to where I just like automated my onboarding. So that's been helping a lot. Cool. But now it's just from when they're onboarded, simplifying that process of getting the content, getting them onboarded, and then just rolling every single month.
Because right now you're doing everything. You're doing the copy for stuff. You're going out and shooting. You have an editor finally, but it sounds like
that freed up a lot of time too. So that freed up 15, 20 hours a week. When I had like 10 clients I hired on the editor. But now it's just dialing the rest of it because right now it's all me.
And then so you have the OS currently, and where are we at with that?
So I have the client OS, so I can start tracking my clients. I'm gonna start implementing the client portal, which is gonna help because a lot of communication goes back and forth with like, oh, what do we need to do now? So that'll help a lot. And then for the appointment setting, my setter's in there. So it's starting to kind of pick up. But I think next step is doing the rest of it. So like the fulfillment. I mean, I just interviewed an AE, so hopefully, we can implement that to start doing the content ideation, all that stuff. And then I can focus on growing the business and not, making content ideas for my clients.
So when somebody comes in, like let's just say you get a client today, what's the system to get them from where they are cold to actually getting leads and growing their business?
They were on the sales call. I fill out the form. That form goes in, basically automates that full system of getting them into my client directory, sending them an email. Here's what to expect. Here's the contract, and then booking their onboarding call. In there, they fill out a form, which gives me all the ideas of like, okay, this is their business, this is their pain points, this is their ideal client. And then I take that, throw it into chat, automates the content, and then on the onboarding call, we go over all that stuff, go over the content ideation, and then book a shoot on that onboarding call. So
onboarding to onboarding call, and then on the onboarding call is when you book the
shoot, and then basically set expectations and set them up on any of our internal systems as far as like the scheduling software and all that stuff.
So onboarding call is expectations,
software, and then any questions that they
Are you
have.
doing like Slack with them, or like are you communicating with them?
Yeah, so that's all in the onboarding process. They'll get invited to Slack through the email and all that stuff, so that's hands off for me.
Then you have the shoot.
And then from the shoot, that gets uploaded to Frame, where my editor goes in.
So you'll do 12 videos.
Yep.
And then how quickly are you getting the shoot?
Within 2-3 weeks. Kind of depends on the schedule. Some people book that same week. Just depends on my workload, and that's why hiring a videographer is going to be important.
So you're mostly the bottleneck on the shoot stuff?
Yeah.
So you have the shoot and then edit, obviously.
Yep. And then that gets sent back to the client to approve. So approval, and then scheduled.
How quickly are you getting the ads up?
As soon as they're approved, we'll go in and.
So all the ads are video ads? Have you considered doing like a lower impact ad to get them up faster?
I have not.
Just from like speed to result? Because I mean, how quickly are you getting your client's result from like a system perspective? Because this is like, I mean, I'm waiting 4 weeks till I'm starting to get results, and I just paid you $7,500.
That's right around like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here waiting around, like, because the moment the client says like yes is the moment they're like, I don't know about this, and then to wait another 4 weeks, they're like, I don't know if you deal with that, where they're like, hey dude, like just following up, hey, like, are we gonna start seeing stuff, that kind of stuff.
Occasionally, I haven't seen it too much recently, but I could see where that would come in, yeah.
So that's pretty much the flow. Cool, so OS is getting there, but that's what I feel like for sure is what's gonna get you to the next thing. Hiring, who do we have on our teams?
Editor, setter, and then I'm prospecting for a videographer and an assistant.
So editor, are they full-time?
He has a full team, so I just basically contract him out. So whenever I have a shoot, I just send him the video. So it's not like hourly, it's per video.
Do you have an editor, or is it like he's fishing off to like a group of editors?
He's my main contact, and he has a team of editors.
And they're like in your Notion? Are they in your system? Or are they...
He's in my Slack, so.
But they're not in your Notion?
No.
Are they opposed to that, or what system do they work off of?
Just their internal, I have no idea. We communicate through Slack and then their frame, but I haven't implemented them into my Notion yet, which I don't think he's opposed to it, but I just haven't.
Do you know if you have like a solid editor every single time, or is it
it's
one same person?
Yep.
And then setter, they're full-time with you? Commission percentage, right?
Base pay of 1,000 and then 25 per book call.
Just an ebook call?
Qualified.
And how do you define qualified?
They show up.
And then anything else, like if they actually close the deal, how much money is this person making? So you got how many appointments?
January, I think it was like 1,500, and then February was 1,250.
The videographer, you've like tested some people out, it sounds like?
Testing some people out. I had one guy on retainer for like 2 or 3 months, but then it just wasn't, I was losing money at that point.
Yeah.
Partially because I didn't have the systems in place to have it efficient.
Yeah.
And then talk with Matt to go per project with somebody.
Yeah.
But I've just been doing it for the past probably a month and a half.
And then assistant to get a lot of the busy work off of your plate, which we talked about. A lot of context here. Let's talk about what do you feel like are your biggest roadblocks right now?
Myself.
What does that mean?
Just being everywhere at once, content ideation, on sales calls, then I have to go to the shoot, then I have to upload that to the editor. So it's just a lot when it comes down to like individual clients because I'm doing everything. So even if I could offload one of those, whether that's the videography side or the content ideation side, that would obviously free up a lot of the bottlenecks.
How many hours a week are you working right now?
The last 2-3 weeks been 50, 60 hours probably.
Yeah. So you feel like you're the biggest bottleneck right now?
100%.
Because you're doing everything. I feel like your sales is good, like your offers.
Yeah, all that stuff is solid. But then when they're
just getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
What's like the goal?
Next big goal is 50K a month. I think if I can get a videographer and assistant, that'll be the base team that I need to get there. And then from there, just making sure the client success is there, making sure my clients are happy, and then continually to scale from there. So I think the big goal is 100, 200K a month would be ideal.
I want to talk about hiring real quick. So if we look at like our offer, right? So ideation, Casey, you're doing that. So like how I would view this is like this can easily be systematized out to an assistant. Shooting, we'll talk about this from like a videographer perspective. Editing, like check, we're good here. Posting, you could find somebody for literally $5 an hour to do this for you. Like this should not be an issue. Ad copy, same thing. Like assistant, in my opinion, where your goal should just be like to be providing like a stamp of approval. But the thing that a lot of people do when they are in this spot is they throw people in the deep end because they're so busy and are like, hey dude, here's a ChatGPT prompt, like write my copy. Here's how I post, just like, can you just post for me? And they set basically people up to fail. I don't know if you've ever been there, if you can like.
I think a little bit with the videographer.
I assume,
yeah.
You assume, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, okay, I'll do it my way.
Exactly.
Same thing with the videographer. Ads management, I mean, we can leave that as you for now. Monthly reporting, assistant for sure. So like, I think in my eyes, like the first thing that I would want to get you to is literally only doing ads management and then just like overseeing everything that's going on here. So that you don't have to like tend the shoots necessarily, like post, you just literally stamp of approval and oversee everything. That would be the first step from like a hiring perspective. But in order to do this, like we have to have our systems really dialed in. How I would probably look at this is I would literally productize my offer, like from like a systems perspective. How I'm gonna look at this is I'm gonna say, oh, system, this is what I need before I actually hire people. Because a lot of people hire before they have systems. And then what happens is they hire somebody and then the person that they hired comes up with their own system to do things based off of what you told them to do. And it's completely like a mess. So like when we say ideation, what exactly do we mean by that. And that means like SOPs, trainings, scenarios, whatever. Same thing with like posting, like what is the exact posting schedule or the SOP, etc. And then ad copy, reporting, easy, onboarding. Because if we can like SOP all these out, like this is an assistant / like client success manager all freaking day. But what we need to do is we just need to have the SOPs. What I would come up with is like, it's like a course. And so that way when somebody comes on, they're just following your way of doing things. And then from here, like when we're hiring, it's like, this is obviously, because you're doing all this yourself. Like a lot of people are also always like, oh, I need a client success manager. You have a job description. It's like, no, what we just need to do is we just need to reverse engineer what you're doing and then turn that into a job description. So then what we do, because the beautiful thing also about hiring is like, now you have the opportunity to provide like excellent service to a client, because right now it's probably just like a section in your head where it's like, okay, I need to ideate for this client, I need to do this. But if you have somebody full-time dedicated to it, then you can add in like more ways to be successful in onboarding, like add all that sort of stuff to it. How I would start from like a hiring and like a system perspective is like job description. So like job description, it's the role, it's the responsibility, and it's the KPIs. Or we want our business to kind of feel like a conveyor belt. If we can dial in like the role, which one of the role would be like copy, essentially. Then we want the responsibilities, like what are the responsibilities per that role? Then what are the KPIs, which is like 24-hour turnaround, all that sort of stuff. Okay. And then once we have this, then we have what's called a daily winning formula, which is basically like a daily checklist. This would by far probably save you 23 hours a week.
Easily. Yeah.
100%. And then with your lead gen, with your like offer and the results that you're getting for clients, like what would 23 hours a week do for you? So this would be number one priority for sure, is getting a assistant and client success manager, which would be building a system and actually hiring the right way and being really patient with hiring and making sure you're getting the right person in place. Because that will this will save you 20, 30 hours if you do it correctly. And then that comes to the next point, which is actually like training, where I would invest like 2 weeks just like training them. Twice a day meetings for the next 2 weeks and getting them ramped up and really dialed in. So I would just like really work on just defining your ideation, defining your posting, defining your ad copy, defining your reporting, your weekly reporting with the OS that you currently have built out. Get them hired ASAP, get them on our calls with like Jules and stuff, and then get them like the mass of the reporting of the OS. And then especially onboarding, like you can do so much cool stuff like manual in the onboarding perspective with an assistant and client success manager. So that'd be like the first thing that I would dial in.
Yeah, I think like looking at it now, it's shooting, yes, it takes time, but I also feel like I'm so much more busy because of all this stuff.
100%.
So then it's like when I have to go shoot, I'm leaving this stuff kind of on the back burner. I go
100%.
shoot, I come back, it's 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm eating dinner and I'm doing all that stuff, so.
Because the thing with like the video, I mean, like how many shoots per month are you doing? Just like call it.
I mean, one shoot per client, so let's say 15 to 18 clients, kind of depending on the month, but.
So let's just do 15 shoots a month. And then how many hours is that taking you per shoot?
2.
2 hours. So that is 30 hours of billable hours that you're attributing to videographer. So it's like, there's not really a point to hire a videographer right now. What I would do from a videographer perspective is I would start to find like those like little like hidden talent people who are like really motivated. Maybe they're trying to grow their freelance, but they want to be a part of a team and they want to like, they're seeing your success and they're like, hey, how do I latch onto you? And then you say, cool, based off of the pricing of our offer, we could pay you $35 an hour to shoot for our clients, and we're gonna give you 30 hours a month eventually. And then as you grow and scale, this will quickly get up to 160 hours. And then that's when they would be full-time. So if you can get them bought in on where you're going and get them really excited about that, then you'll be able to afford them for like $35 an hour, and then it'll be a full-time job and they'll be super hyped. So if your vision is 100K a month, you want the videographer to be like super bought in, because they'll be paramount to sales, paramount to all that sort of stuff as well. That's where I would do on like the systems for like the first thing from removing yourself as a bottleneck. The other thing is raising your prices for sure. Your cost per lead is ridiculous and your closing percentage is really high. If I see it it's like really good to keep it that way, and your offer isn't just like a deliverable. It's not just like, hey, we're doing videos for you. It's hey, we're actually providing an outcome. Yeah. Like you just told me a client, you got them like a $900,000 case and 50 new clients. Like that's insane. Like your pricing should be tiered up to the results that you're being able to get to the clients. So I think like the value-based pricing, like what I would probably do is like when you're on a sales call, like how are you communicating the ROI? Is it like, hey, our average cost per lead is this? Or hey, we're relying on a lot of the case studies, or like what is it that you're doing for them?
Just walking them through like what we've done for other clients, kind of going through what their business is and then saying, hey, based off these results, this is something that you could have, and then go over numbers.
So when you're asking them questions, like what is your sales framework like? Like are you asking them like, what's your cost per acquisition? Like how many deals are you closing? What's your average lifetime value?
We go over like specifically what they're doing through content. Typically it's like, oh, we're not doing anything. And then we'll go over what other ways are you marketing? How's that going? Yeah. We don't typically get into like specifics of numbers, but we go overview of kind of what they're struggling with, and then.
So you don't understand like what is the lifetime value of one customer for them? No. Okay, cool. I would definitely like dig into the client numbers for clients. Because that way, like, and this is, well also, I'll tell you how this will tie into like more money. Because like if you know that their average client, like attorney, you know that they probably make 30% of all the cases that you make, but whatever. Let's just say it's like $4,000, and then like you can just say, hey, based off of our success of average cost per lead of, let's just call it $30, if we spent $1,500 in ads, that'd be 50 leads per month. And then what would 50 leads per month do for them if they could book 5 calls, 20% closing, whatever, at least one deal at a $4,000 spend? And then what's like the LTV? That should be like way more than that. So you have a lot more negotiation room for like presenting an ROI type of calculator to them so that they can see the value in it versus having the value be based off of like the content and what you're actually doing for them. How I would do that is I would definitely, from like a sales perspective, have a VSL, but also communicate an ROI based sales approach versus just like our content looks really good. And like, not that the content isn't going to help with the actual deals, but like the content is supposed to support the lead gen versus like the content actually doing the lead gen. Because the clients want more leads more than they want more content. So then what I would start to probably do is just like $500 increments and just like keep testing it up. It's like $500. So like your next pitch, I would go $2,500 for that package. And then the higher package is $500 more and see what they say. Because it should be a no-brainer if you can provide the ROI. If they don't make money, then they're probably not gonna be like a fit for you from like a cost perspective. And I don't know that it would be your ideal client at the end of the day.
Makes sense.
So I think slowly inching up the pricing to like show the ROI and almost like positioning the offer a little bit to be more like lead gen driven versus like ads or versus content. Because content's like, I think that's what makes people feel fuzzy, but like
it's not the
they want money.
Factor of it.
They want money. Okay, and then the last thing would be from like a system from like fulfillment, I would do feed to result. Instead of waiting 3 weeks to get content and to get something on the feed, like I would in the first 7 days basically try to get an ad up as quickly as possible. Like I would almost have it be onboarding and then like portal, and then like while you're doing, literally after they fill this out, if you can get enough information from the onboarding call, perfect. If not, like no big deal. And then basically like ad copy number 1, which could just be like B-roll, like send me some B-roll clips that we can like whip together something really quick. And then launch call, and like you literally launch the ad together on a call, and then content. Because the moment they start seeing leads is the moment they'll be like, dude, I trust you, like just do whatever. Especially if you're doing month to month, which I think I would probably do 3-month minimum, is I would 100% try to get this up and have this live in the first like 7 days. And then now you can say, hey, we'll start getting leads as soon as 7 days from now. And then make the content after you launch the ad, and then you go out, make it dope, and then get some other variations of the ads. And then also like from a scalability perspective, let's just say like ad number 1, like now you're able to serve people in freaking Texas, in Florida, right? Now you're starting to open up like your skill set to be able to like actually scale this without having to go out and shoot all the time. Or you can do a quarterly shoot or shoot every 6 months, because the main thing is going to be the ads that's going to be working really well for them. And then how are you training them on like the lead to booking or like setting appointments? Do you have anything in place there?
No. I kind of just like, what are you currently doing? And typically they have other forms of like their CRM, and like that's what we'll go over on the call too, is like from a lead, how's that process? And then I just say, okay, now it's gonna be, people are gonna be DMing you, and then you could take that. And so I kind of
are you tracking it for them as well?
No.
No. Okay. Are you gonna start doing that inside the client portal?
I've thought about it, but I haven't done it yet.
And that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Have you seen the recruitment or like the OS?
Yeah,
sick. Yeah, I think that'd be huge from like a product perspective.
Totally.
How are you feeling? What do you feel like is most helpful so far?
Seeing the systems, and then it got clear to me that I don't need a videographer right now, because that's gonna free up a lot of my time. But then also like, honestly, everything. Yeah. It's nice to see it on.
100%. Plan would be to systematize for, I'm gonna call them a CSM. Like we kind of ideated, we kind of mapped out what the person's gonna be doing. So like ideation, posting, ad copy, reporting, and onboarding. Like how do you map that out in just like a step-by-step process essentially to have like a guide or like
a step?
Exactly, like everything that the person needs in order to actually succeed. So basically it's the productized process, and then it's the OS boards. So I always say when we're hiring, like, or like a CEO isn't like chief executive officer, it's chief expectation officer, and the more expectations that you can set, the better this person's gonna be set up for success. And the other thing, as I say, it's like you're a chief tool provider, because what we want to do is we want to provide tools for this person so that they have everything literally in front of them in order to actually succeed. Okay, so systematize for CSM, which is coming up with a productized process, OS boards, all that sort of stuff. Basically, I guess we can call this like foundation, which is basically like job description and winning formula. Because now, once you have this dialed in, then you'd be like, okay, here's everything that I need them to actually do, and here's what I want to happen when we onboard a client, and here's how we can improve it actually, all I need to do is find somebody to just do it for me. So what we can do in the job description is define the roles, responsibilities, and the KPIs, and that's how this person is going to be measured. Is just basically like what based off of what you've already built out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So systems, which is like how would they practically do it, and that will help you start to see exactly like, okay, cool, this is what this person's going to be doing, creating the trainings, creating the boards. You'd be like, dude, it's going to be so easy to plug them in because you already have everything basically preset up for them. And then I think sales would be to just like raise prices, slow increments, 250, 500 per offer, 3 Fs there. ROI based, so like ask better questions. And then like, it's really easy to point back to like all the success that you've had for yourself and then for your clients. Be like, hey, we're typically seeing like conservatively $25 per lead. If we spend $1,000 and we get this many leads, blah, 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 what would that do for you?
Yeah.
Right, and then it makes this like a no-brainer for them. And then lastly is gonna be time frame to results. So I would just say, consider ad up in 7 days. And with this person in place, this should be a lot easier to do. So that'd be the 4 things that I would probably focus on in the next three or so months, because your lead gen is good, your sales are good, which indicates I would probably raise prices if that was you. And then you just need to buy back some of your time. This person will buy back 30 hours a week easily. And then this will keep your clients pumped and then be able to extend it. How does that feel?
I love it.
All right, guys, we just helped Casey to basically gave him a roadmap on how he's going to remove himself as a bottleneck, buy back his time, and systematize so that he can hit those $50,000, $100,000 a month, which I think is extremely doable with this plan. If you're curious on exactly how Casey is going to systematize his business and work himself out of his business so that he can buy back time, then you're going to like the video on the screen right here where we walk through our exact Notion system that Casey's going to use that you can use as well for your business. Be sure to check it out.